Hey there, everyone. It's GG Silver Sun. November the 5th. Got some nice Spanish moss hanging down here. Deep South Thai style. AA thought for the day. During our thoughts about the rewards that have come to us as a result of our new way of living, we find that we have new kinds of homes, new relationships with our spouses and our children. Also, peace, contentment, hope, faith, charity, and new ambition. What are some of the things we have lost? Each one of us can answer this question in many ways. I have lost much of my fear. It used to control me. It was my master. It paralyzed my efforts. Fear always got me down. It made me an introvert, an ingrown person. Ugh. When fear was replaced by faith, I got well. Have I lost some of my fears? And just like anything else, fears have layers. And there are as time goes on and I continue in the program, every day I don't pick up a drink, I'm in with a chance. I have an opportunity to recognize where my fears are ruling me. I think of the old story of I don't know why, I always remember it as a Civil War soldier who had a bullet lodged somewhere in his body, and it just made more sense to leave it there. And after a while, he kind of became like a friend. He didn't realize, that it was an issue. But it was slowly poisoning him as well because it was a lead bullet kind of thing. And so over time, these fears, even though we learn to live with them, can poison us. We just got done with the annual Halloween celebrations. I'm not a big one for Halloween, and mainly because my foundational experiences growing up involved a lot of fear. Not just fear, but terror. And so if I can avoid it, even especially the glorification of terror, and I can help others to avoid that. I was actually helping some people pass out candy on Halloween evening because I didn't get any candy this year to pass out, and I was envisioning myself just sort of sitting at home with the lights out, so kids didn't knock on my door expecting candy. And then I ended up going over to some neighbor's house, and they asked me if I would put on this like creature from the Black Lagoon mask and pass out candy. And I did, but it was like, it was really suffocating and I couldn't see very well. So I just stuffed it with plastic bags, the head, and then sort of socked it on my head like a hat. These little kids look so confused, but I'm sitting here grinning underneath it, and they're looking up at the head. And it was kind of creepy, it had like these beady eyes. And, they look up at the head, they're in their parents' arms, and they're looking up at the head, and then they're looking at me, and they look up at the head, and they look back down at me, and I'm grinning, and I'm saying, hey, sweetheart, that kind of thing. And eventually they mirror what I'm showing them. And I love that analogy. You know what I mean? That's what I want to be in the world. You know, I want to mirror love, and because love conquers all, man. It conquers all, no matter how dark it may seem. It's love that endures. Fear is, it seems like it's growing sometimes, you know. Fear and terror and things like that. And there are people in the world and entities, I believe, in the world that would have us believe that terror rules. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It just doesn't. I've seen it over and over again in my life that it absolutely does not. Love conquers. So that is what I want to reflect in the world. And yes, I've lost some of my fears, but again, I want to be the one who, the face I give to the world is one of love and compassion, and to minimize fear, and to be not constant vigilance for, maybe constant vigilance for when fear crops up in my life, but more of a mindfulness, to be mindful when fear is becoming a dominant force in my life. And I have a much more sensitivity to that these days because of my walk with the God of my understanding. And so I hope that the same for others in my life. Meditation for the day. The world would sooner be brought close to God. I don't know what that sentence means. His will would sooner be done on earth if all would acknowledge him. All who acknowledge him gave themselves unreservedly to being used by him. God can use every human being as a channel for divine love and power. What delays the bringing of the world closer to God is backwardness of his followers. If each one lived each day for God and allowed God to work through him, then the world would soon be drawn much closer to God, its founder and preserver. I pray, well, I'm getting all crooked here. I'm trying to read and video at the same time. I pray that I may be used as a channel to express the divine love. I pray that I may so live as to bring God's Spirit closer to the world. And it's funny, you know, I say I don't read these ahead of time before I start videoing. And it's interesting how in this instance, when I'm talking about fear, I end up talking about love and about that very prayer that's written in this book. And I like to say, is it odd or is it God? You know, the Spirit of God moving in my heart, I hope. And I hope that comes across in these videos. I love y'all. Chin up, aim up, rise up, keep coming back.